Siwuya raised his right hand. The mysterious box seemed weightless. A cluster of energy wrapped itself around the box as it flew into his hand. Siwuya held the box with one hand as he said, "We can't tell anyone about this, lest they covet the treasures of the evil sky pavilion." Zhou Honggong, old eighth, said nonchalantly, "Seventh senior brother, there are plenty of them who are hungrily eyeing the evil sky pavilion like a predator. Another person won't make a difference. No, I'm talking about this box in particular. If it was some extraordinary treasure, it would definitely cause chaos if people knew about it." He carried the box back into the Tiger Ridge as Zhou Honggong trailed after him. A flying chariot that looked like a ship was parked on the ground. A dozen cultivators dressed in light-color robes stood around it. When Siwuya appeared, they bowed in unison. Sect Master. Siwuya tossed a mysterious box into a flying chariot before he leaped inside. Head to Anyang. Understood. Whoosh! The dozen cultivators channeled their primal chi at the same time. The huge flying chariot that was powered by the formation veins and primal chi slowly rose into the air. Before it flew away, it paused for a moment. Siwuya said calmly, "Old Eighth, don't do anything to attract attention to yourself for now. The pact between the Fiend Temple and the Righteous Sect has collapsed. They won't be challenging the evil Sky Pavilion, but they'll come for you." When Zhou Honggong heard this, he shuddered and spoke in a grieved tone. "Senior brother, this was all your idea. Why am I shouldering the blame?" Siwuya calmly looked in Anyang's direction as he said, "Although Zhang Yuanshan has openly taunted the evil Sky Pavilion many times, that man is actually a big coward. He's afraid of dying. Otherwise, he would have rushed back to the Green Jade altar when you and Master showed up. With his cultivation base in the nascent divinity tribulation realm, he's more than capable of doing so. Still, it's unfair that I have to shoulder the blame. Men like him share a common trait. They're afraid of the strong, but they pick on the weak." As soon as Siwuya finished speaking, the flying chariot flew away. A slight frown could be seen on Zhou Honggong's face. In other words, Zhang Yuanshan thought the Tiger Ridge gang was a pushover? He bowed slightly at the flying chariot that was growing smaller and smaller in the distance. "Have a safe journey, senior brother." When he straightened his body, he said with a scoff, "I'm not a pushover." 2 hours later, the flying chariot landed slowly near Anyang. Siwuya emerged from the flying chariot and looked up at the city. One of Siwuya's subordinates walked over and said, "Sect Master, we've cleared the surroundings. Nobody will find out about your movements." Siwuya nodded. "Wait here. I'll be back soon." "Sect Master, Senior Sword Devil is known to spend his time in the city recently. What if Senior Sword Devil is angered by your sudden visit?" Siwuya glanced at him and said, "You're wrong about second senior brother. I'll make my own judgments." "Understood." Siwuya raised a hand. The mysterious box in the flying chariot flew into his palm. Meanwhile, on the 3rd floor of a restaurant in Anyang City, from the window here, one could see the entire Anyang City. A green-clad swordsman was pouring himself some wine. The entire restaurant was empty. There were no other guests. A waiter trembled as he stood at the side. He would look at the green-clad swordsman furtively every once in a while. The green-clad swordsman suddenly asked, "How much longer?" From Blue Sun to Anyang takes an hour. He should be H here by now." The waiter stumbled through his words when he spoke. "There's no need to be afraid. There's wine and some dishes here. Have a seat and drink with me," the green-clad swordsman said calmly. No, I dare not. I'll just stand here. It's nice standing here." A chill ran up the waiter's spine when he heard the green-clad swordsman's words. Tap, tap, tap. Someone was coming up the stairs. Several cultivators arrived on the 3rd floor. There were 1 cultivator in the Divine Court realm, 2 in the Brahmin Sea realm, 6 in the Sense-Condensing realm, and 3 in the Mystic Enlightening realm. Apart from the green-clad swordsman and the waiter, there was only a table, a chair, and enough food and wine for 1 person on the 3rd floor of the restaurant. The green-robed cultivator glanced at these cultivators. He continued pouring himself some wine and said calmly, Leave the Blue Sun-mounted brigand here. The others may leave. The waiter behaved as though he had been pardoned from the death penalty. He hastily bowed and said, "Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir." He ran away quicker than a hare and disappeared down the stairs. The cultivators looked at the green-robed swordsman with a puzzled expression on their faces. A middle-aged man who seemed to be the leader of the group sensed the green-clad swordsman's peculiar aura. He cupped his hands together and asked, "Who are you, dear sir?" The green-robed swordsman did not deign to answer the middle-aged man's question. Instead, he asked, "Are you all the mounted brigands from Blue Sun Mountain? Calling us mounted brigands sounds harsh. We're only trying to make a living and make ends meet. It's not easy for us to keep this restaurant up and running. I hope that you won't give us any trouble, dear sir." "In that case, that's easy." The green-clad swordsman raised his wine cup and finished it in one go. He was speaking calmly in the beginning. However, with just a drop of a hat, his tone changed. "I'm sorry, but can you end your own lives? My sword doesn't like to be tainted by the blood of low-level cultivators." The cultivators were shocked by this, instinctively taking a step back. "Who are you, sir?" The green-clad swordsman put his wine cup down. He smiled faintly as he said, "I'm Yu Shangrong." "The sword devil?" The cultivators did not even try to verify it was true. They instantly turned tail. Bam! 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 At the stairs, a formidable wall of energy blocked their escape. The green-clad swordsman continued to pour himself some wine and drank it. It was as though he did not see any of this. The dozen cultivators began to panic. Without any warning, many hidden energy weapons shot toward them from outside the restaurant. There were sparkles of gold as a peacock's plumes shot toward them. Whoosh! 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 The weapons penetrated the low-level cultivators' chests with utmost precision. Some of them even looked like hedgehogs. The green-clad swordsman did not even bother to look up. He merely shook his head lightly. He put his cup of wine down and said in a slightly teasing tone, "Junior brother, you've spoiled my mood. I was enjoying a nice drink here. I really don't like the smell of blood." Tap, tap, tap. Si Wuya walked up the stairs with his hands on his back. The mysterious box was hovering next to him. He wore a smile on his face. He sat down across the table and said, "I'll treat you to a feast next time to apologize for ruining your mood, senior brother." Yu Shangrong shook his head slightly and said, "It's enough that you have that thought. However, it's truly a shame. I promise to let them end their own lives." "It's my fault. I shouldn't have interfered," Si Wuya said. "Senior brother, you're a person of great standing. Why are you lowering yourself to deal with these scummy mounted brigands? Little junior sister is naive and pure. Her problems are my problems," Yu Shangrong said. Si Wuya was taken aback. He said, "You certainly love little junior sister dearly." "I wouldn't call it love," Yu Shangrong said gently. "When elder senior brother and I left the Evil Sky Pavilion, little junior sister hasn't even joined yet." "Then why?" Si Wuya swept his gaze at the corpses of the mounted brigands. Yu Shangrong smiled faintly. He stood up with his hands on his back. He looked at the scenery outside as he said, "I've met little junior sister a few times. I think she's like me, a person who treats others with sincerity." Si Wuya coughed lightly before he said, "Second senior brother, let's talk business." He waved his hand, and the mysterious box landed on the table. Yu Shangrong's gaze fell on the mysterious box. He appraised it for a moment before he looked away. Si Wuya said, "This is Master's box. It needs your weapon as a key to unlock it. Master is an interesting person. Even when he's cooped up in the mountain, he never fails to find something for us to do," Yu Shangrong said with a smile. "Perhaps he's trying to test us with this. Seventh junior brother, you know the human heart very well, and yet you can't see through Master's thoughts?" Si Wuya shook his head and heaved a long sigh. He walked to Yu Shangrong's side with his hands on his back. He looked down at the bustling street of Anyang as he said, "If this were in the past, I would confidently say that I'm privy to his thoughts. However, lately, I find myself becoming uncertain." Yu Shangrong said lightly, "I don't really care. In fact, I don't think much about him. So long as he stays put, I'll feel at ease. Clearly, things aren't going the way that you like it to, Siwuya said with a smile. Master is doing the exact opposite. First, he kills a fiend temple's second seat, Zuoshin-chan. Then, he captured the leader of the Black Knights, Fan Showen. He has a senior Buddhist monk helping him, and he recruited the Clarity Sect's disciple, Panjong, and the Heavenly Sword Sect's disciple, Zhou Jifeng. Even Yin Sect's Hua Wudao is never heard from again after he went up the mountain. It seems like your confidence has dwindled. Seventh junior brother, you sound hesitant, Yu Shangrong said. Siwuya nodded. He did not deny it. He said, I obtained this information from the Darknet. However, there are several conflicting reports. The part about the senior Buddhist monk cannot be trusted. It's true that the Buddhist sect played a part on the holy altar. However, there's a possibility that the senior Buddhist monk is Master himself. Yu Shangrong was slightly surprised. He said, Master is skilled in many cultivation methods. Your speculation is not without merits. If this is true, then there's a possibility that Master has found a way to master cultivation methods from other sections. Yes, that's possible, Siwuya mused. Yu Shangrong did not reply. He stayed silent as he looked at a distant spot in Anyang City. The crowd on the streets slowly began to thin. The sun was setting in the west. Siwuya finally turned to look at the box before he said, Second senior brother, it's up to you to unlock the box or not. You've made your choice? Master's time is almost up. If he found a new method, I'll wipe my eyes and wait, Siwuya said. I don't like to use my brains, Yu Shangrong said calmly. Although there are times that I don't agree with your methods, I think you're right, in this case. He did not reach for his sword, but the long sword on his back that gleamed with faint red sheen moved of its own accord. It lodged itself into a groove on the mysterious box. Click! A crisp sound rang in the air. An opening appeared on the side of the box. The longevity sword was ejected and returned to the scabbard on Yu Shangrong's back. He asked, How come the box didn't open? Siwuya replied, We still need eldest senior brother's Jasper Saber. Seventh junior brother, you're smarter than the others. What do you think is contained in this box? It's not heavy, so it can't be gold, silver, or gemstones. I don't think it's any heavy weapon as well. To be contained in such a box, I do hope that it's a treasure map, Siwuya said jokingly. A treasure map? Something that'll lead us to something valuable like the bones of the Bai people? Yu Shangrong sounded puzzled, but his expression was indifferent. The bones of the Bai people are not actual treasures, but I'm sure there's some sort of treasure. It just hasn't been found yet. The palace has been fishing bodies out of the river for a decade and has found nothing. We can basically eliminate the possibility of it being the bones of the Bai people, Siwuya said. Yu Shangrong sighed softly. I hope sixth junior sister will be able to move on from this. Put aside that matter. I'm afraid she's in dire straits now. Knowing Master, things bode ill for her. Yu Shangrong nodded. He did not continue the conversation about Yi Tianxin. Instead, he glanced at the mysterious box next to him and said calmly, Eldest senior brother seldom shows himself. I don't think you'll be able to find him. I'll try. Perhaps eldest senior brother will share the same opinion as us, Siwuya said. Yu Shangrong pointed in the divine capital's direction and said, Eldest senior brother isn't on Pingda Mountain. He should be in the divine capital. When Siwuya heard this, he was slightly taken aback. Eldest senior brother has been cultivating in seclusion all this time. Many of his missions were carried out by his subordinates. Why did he go to the divine capital, the tiger's lair and the dragon's den? Yu Shangrong only said, I don't like the way eldest senior brother does things. That's why I killed Chen Wenjie. I gave eldest senior brother and Chun Wenjie notice in advance. I told them I would raise my sword. If they came over with their necks extended, their heads would certainly be lopped off and their blood would spill, Yu Shangrong said slowly. Siwuya was at a loss for words. He finally sighed and said, You and eldest senior brother have your own standpoints. There's no right or wrong. Seventh junior brother, you've always been one who can see the bigger picture. Do you think eldest senior brother is doing the right thing? Yu Shangrong asked. Well, Siwea paused before continuing with a smile. Eldest senior brother is wrong. Yu Shangrong flashed a satisfied smile. You do have a unique take on things, 7 junior brother. At this moment, troops of mounted soldiers appeared on Anyang city streets. There were 3 to 5 red-robe cultivators among the troops of 30 to 50 men. Yu Shangrong pointed at the troops and said, You're right. Wei Zhuyen has sent someone. Siwea placed his hands on his back and said with a smile, Although Wei Zhuyen doesn't agree with a certain someone on matters of governance, they're grasshoppers tied on the same string, after all. Besides, Wei Zhuyen is too ugly. Ugly? It doesn't matter. In any case, Wei Zhuyen's current move is low. Siwea said with a smile. Will you make a move, 7 junior brother? Yu Shangrong asked. Siwea shook his head and said, Just like before, I'll observe the situation for now and make my decision when I have to. 2nd senior brother, don't you prefer to do things this way as well? You know me well, junior brother Wea, Yu Shangrong said. The organized troops proceeded along the streets below. The red-robe cultivators left Anyang City with the mounted soldiers. Finally, Siwea cupped his fist together and said, 2nd senior brother, I'll take my leave now and head to the divine capital. All right. Yu Shangrong waved his hand and said, Tell him something for me? Tell him that I don't want to meddle in his matters. And he shouldn't meddle in mine as well. I'll convey the message faithfully, Siwea said as he waved his hand. The box hovering in the air vanished instantly. Yu Shangrong glanced at the body strewn haphazardly on the floor. He frowned slightly and said, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to kill you. For every grievance, someone is responsible. For every debt, there's a debtor. Farewell. He leaped nimbly into the air and walked on air as though he was strolling in a park. He followed the mounted soldiers and the red-robe cultivators. Meanwhile, Siwea returned to his flying chariot. Sect Master, we saw a senior sword devil heading in the Golden Court Mountains direction. There's no need to worry. 2nd senior brother knows what he's doing. By the way, is there any news about the Yun Tian and Luo Sect Sword Saint Luo Shi-san? In reply to your question, Sect Master, Sword Saint Luo Shi-san hasn't made any moves yet. Report to me right away if he does. I believe 2nd senior brother will like an opponent like him very much. Yes, Sect Master. Siwea waved his arm and said, Head for the divine capital. Sect Master, the divine capital is surrounded by the Imperial Guards. Ordinary flying chariots won't be allowed in. I'm worried we'll run into trouble. According to Great Yan's laws, the Imperial Guard were authorized to execute any unidentified flying chariots near the divine capital. If there was a serious battle, the Darknet would be at a disadvantage. They were not people skilled in combat, after all. No matter, I have a token from His Highness. We'll have unrestricted access, Siwea said confidently. Sect Master, your intelligence knows no bounds. We'll depart now. Meanwhile, Lu Zhou received a reward of 200 points for disciplining his 8th disciple, Zhu Honggong. He opened his eyes slowly and glanced at the merit points on the system dashboard, 8,962 points. I still need more than 3,000 points to buy the 6 recombinant trigram lines. Lu Zhou was under the illusion that he would certainly hit the jackpot if he did a lucky draw right now. Lucky draw.